back to another Geck tutorial, and today's tutorial I'm going to be explaining to you how to make an NPC. Right off the bat, really quickly, this will be not a very in-depth guide, this will be just how to make an NPC with generic voice lines, and in the next episode I'll be showing you how to do dialogue and quests in the future. But without further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to go into our cell view here, we're going to click into world space and go down to Wasteland NV, and I'm going to go into Goodsprings, but you can go wherever you want. Double click on that and we're in. If you don't know how to move around or do anything, I'd recommend you watch part 1 of my tutorial series up in the top right, because it will teach you the controls, how to make your first weapon, and getting used to all the menus in Fallout New Vegas. Okay, and here we are. So I'm going to place them down right here, just outside. And so right off the bat, I'm going to go over to my object window to make the NPC. So I'm going to go object window here, and I'm going to scroll down to actors, and then clicking into NPC. So here's a list of every single NPC in the base game. There's a lot of them, and what we're essentially going to do is, for this tutorial, it'll be a bit simplistic, just because it's a multi-part thing. It'll be an hour-long video. It's a very in-depth topic, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to have a character as my base, and the best way to do this is to go down to a generic NPC. And I found what I want. I'm going to use a Wastelander, so I'm just going to double click on my chosen person. I'm going to go into preview here. So in order to see what he looks like, or what the NPC looks like, I'm going to go down to my NPC window here, and I'm going to go down to preview, and you can do a head preview by ticking the box where it gives you the head, or you can do a full preview where it shows you the entire body. So that's good enough to me. I'll keep that as it is. But really quickly, here's a very, very important step that you cannot miss out on. You have to go into the ID tab up here, and you have to change it. If you don't, you will change every single NPC in the game that uses this ID. So we're gonna change it. So I'm gonna get rid of the, and I'm just gonna call it test NPC, and press OK. And now we have this very important pop-up which says create new object, old ID, Wastelander AF, new ID, test NPC. You have changed the form editor's ID, create a new form. Yes, you always want to create a new form. Always. That will create a new object. Now I'm going to filter it by going into test, and I have my test NPC over here. I'm going to right click and edit, or you can double click on it. So now we have a generic Wastelander. Now you can make NPCs from scratch, but this is just way easier because it's already set up. But some of them will have scripts, so you have to be very careful when doing that because they might have certain AI packages, but we'll go through all that in a bit. But I'd recommend for this tutorial to just use a generic NPC to get used to making NPCs, because later on in a few episodes I'll be showing you how to make a fully fledged NPC with part of dialogue and quests. So it's really important you get the hang of it, but you can make your own NPC use this tutorial if you want as well. It'll be very similar. So we have over here, we have the ID test NPC and we have the name. Now the reason why this is grayed out and you can't use a script is because it uses template data, and the actor base is Wasteland AAF template, which means it uses a certain template. So every generic NPC has a template. So right here, Brotherhood templates, all that stuff, and that will basically, the templates will change the names to a generic name, the inventory to have a specific layout, AI packages. So instead of having to make 20 NPCs and filling out their inventory one by one, their AI packages one by one, you can just make a template and apply that to 20 NPCs, and it will speed up the whole process. So that's why these are grayed out. So for now we're going to ignore the template data, but you can go through this if you want. I'll just really quickly explain it. Use traits and use AI data and all that is just telling it what to use from the template. So if you wanted to give a custom inventory, you'd uncheck use inventory, and you could be able to put in your own inventory. So don't mind that. That's more advanced stuff. I'll go into that in depth in another tutorial. So here we have our main tabs on the top. We have our traits, stats, factions, so on and so forth. This is, just a general, traits, the traits of the NPC, and we can change all that stuff. So straight off the bat, you can change their race. So from Asian Raider, you can change them to whatever. You can change them to a ghoul or Hispanic. Change them to a ghoul. I changed it into Asian old aged. You can do a lot of different things with it, but for now I'm gonna keep it as a ghoul. Height and weight doesn't really work. You're better off scaling it in the world instead of doing it in here because it's just a bit buggy, and I wouldn't recommend really doing it. So leave these alone for now. And of course you can check if they're female or not. You can uncheck it, it's a man, and if you check it, it's a female. Moving on to the voice type, these are just generic lines like hello and goodbye and that stuff. Now because it's a ghoul, when I talk to it, it'll still show up the female adult generic voice lines, so it'll just sound like a normal person. I don't want that, I want it to sound like a ghoul. So I'm going to look for a ghoul voice type. And here I have one, female ghoul 02, and now it'll sound like a ghoul. Easy as that. You can, maybe if you change it to, an old person, an aged person, you could do female old, but I have it as a ghoul, so I'll set it as a ghoul. Now, class doesn't really matter that much, so I'm just going to leave that blank. It doesn't really matter. It's mainly Fallout 3 stuff. You can see there's even Vault 101 security, which is Fallout 3 leftovers. You'll see a lot of Fallout 3 leftovers in the Geck. So yeah, just keep in mind there'll be a lot of Fallout 3 things in the Geck. Don't use them because all of them are broken. So yeah. So here you have alignment, which is, again, it doesn't really matter. If you want, you can change this stuff. I'll change to be good. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Here, disposition base. I've never used it. I don't know what it does, if I'm being honest. So, death item. Again, we're gonna leave blank because nearly every NPC just has none for a death item. Combat style is what type of, guns or attacks they can use. So default would be punching, shooting guns, they have them, stuff like that, and running away. And Queen would be like shooting stuff, like a centaur would be like spewing out those radioactive things to you from a ghoul. So it would be cool, it's cool because you can, mix and match different things, and you can make really custom and unique NPCs. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to leave as default. Moving on to stats, this doesn't really matter. The only time it will matter is for health, how much damage or how accurate is the gun, and that stuff really. None of it really matters because they can't lockpick things, so lockpick is useless. That's really what they'd be used for. They're not really used that much. If you do want to change these, you could always just uncheck use stats, and you can just make your own stats. I might actually do that for the sake of this tutorial, just because, PC level multiplier basically just makes it's like Fallout 3, where it takes the character. PC is like playable character, that's what it stands for. So PC is you. So if you're like level 50, well then this guy will be really strong, but if you're level 1, it'll be really weak. I always leave it off because Fallout New Vegas, every single NPC has PC level multiplier off, and it makes the game way more fun, because it makes it tougher at the start and easier at the end, so there's a much better difficulty curve throughout the game. I'm going to be changing their health to 25, boosting it. Speed multiplier, I'll leave it to 100. Fatigue and all that stuff doesn't really matter. You can leave all that, blank. Most of it you can't even change. Auto calculate stats, I don't know if it's broken or if I just don't know how to use it, but I think it's just a random kind of thing, but I always like to set them myself because it gives you more variety. Luck would be for critical hits, strength would be for strength, Perception would be how far they can kind of see you. Endurance would be like health. Charisma is useless pretty much for an NPC. Intelligence pretty useless. Agility is kind of useless. So, you know, I'm gonna make this person really strong, really lucky, and I'll give him a bit more endurance. And you can see that that adds up the calculated health, because if you had endurance 1, the calculated health should be 25. But if it's like 10, the calculated health should be 70. So you can see how the stats kind of change the other stats down here. I'm gonna leave it at 6. If I can do that. There we go. So it has a calculated health of 50, but a base health of 25. Pretty normal. Level, I'm gonna make it level 2. Also, I'm pretty sure auto-calculate stats actually does rely on the level. That could be it. I haven't used it personally before, so I always set them manually, so you know, you can play around with that if you want. Also, there is no limit on what special points I think you can allocate. I think you can put up to like 100, so there is no limit. So you know, you can mess around with that if you want. Now, factions. They're not a complicated topic, but they are a topic that I think we don't have time for. If you want to mess around with them yourself, you can uncheck use factions and change them. For the sake of this tutorial, I will add one new faction, which will be the Good Springs faction, which I'll scroll down to and look for G. I'll go to Good Springs faction, and I'll add the Good Springs militia, so that in the final fight, when you're fighting Ringo or you're fighting Joe Cobb, the ghoul will be on Good Springs' side. And that's it, you know. I'm not going to go too in depth into it because it gets really, really confusing, but basically this will be who the character is friendly with and who the person is against. So they're friendly with all these people. That's all I really need to know. Very in depth, so I'm just going to skip it for now. AI data, again, if you want to change it, you could uncheck it. If anything is grayed out that you want to change, just uncheck the stuff. You can uncheck use base data, that'll change the name. But I'm going to keep it normal for now. So AI attributes, you can do aggression, confidence, assistance and stuff. I'm going to say it helps friends and allies. I don't think mood matters really. I think it might play different animations, I don't know. Confidence, I think, is when it's low on health, will it run away or will it stay? So if it was cowardly, well then when you shoot it, it would just run away instantly. Foolhardy is when it's on 1 health, it'll keep shooting you no matter what. Aggression is where if you shoot, you know, near them, will they get aggressive? Frenzied, it'll just kill anyone if you're near them. That's used in North Vegas, I think, when you kill Cook's pet Brahmin. He'll go frenzied, and he'll just basically kill everyone. He'll even kill his allies. So that's what frenzied is. Very aggressive, all that stuff. I'm just gonna leave him as aggressive, you know. I'm gonna leave this, you know, the same, and I'm not even gonna bother doing this because that's a barter menu, and a barter menu is so in depth that it'll take a good 45 minutes to get through everything. So I'm not doing that in today's episode. Moving on to AI packages, I'm going to leave this alone again because this is just a very in-depth topic. Again, if you want to mess around with them, uncheck use AI packages and you can mess around. For the sake of the video, I'm not gonna, but please mess around with them because that will teach you just so much about how the Geck works. I don't want these tutorials to be a copy this and do that and you get output. There will be videos like that, but I want it to be a more, you know, here's how you would go about doing that by yourself instead of here's why you do, you know what I mean? So if you have any questions in the comments, please do let me know them because I'll be able to answer any questions you have. If anything breaks, just let me know. Moving on to inventory, I'm going to uncheck it because I want to actually give this person new items. The weight does seem to be broken. It says -4 out of 250, but it's actually 4 out of 250 because you can see everything here weighs 1. So, you know, that's a bit broken. You can see here that these aren't exactly certain objects, they are pulled from a list of objects. So these are, I'm pretty sure they're called something like, I can't remember what they're called exactly, but they are a form list. I'm pretty sure they're called a form list, where it basically, you could make a form list and you could say there's a 10% chance of having a laser rifle, 70% chance of having a pistol, and a 20% chance of having nothing. And then you just put it in there and it picks a random number, and then boom, you know, whatever it has. So it'll be a randomized item that it spawns with. That's very good for adding, you know, randomness to your mod. But I'm not going to mess around with that again, because it's a very in-depth thing, and we'll be talking about all that later on. Do not worry. There's going to be a lot more episodes like this one explaining a lot more about NPC. You can see here that Wasteland Apparel, you can spawn with a hat. I'm going to make it spawn with a jacket of some sort, just any armor. So I'm going to go down to armor, and I'm going to give it combat armor. And now you can see, if I go into preview and I press full again, it now has armor. I'm going to leave it like that, because I kind of like how that goes. I'm going to put the health down to 11%, because for the sake of, I guess, storytelling, the Google probably, you know, either had this on when the nukes fell, or, you know, it found it while scavenging. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna put it at 11% because you wouldn't have 100% armor really in the wasteland. You know what I mean? I'm also gonna give it a gun that it definitely spawns with. I'm gonna give it a laser rifle. I'm gonna go down to weapon. Fits over here. It's been a while since I've used the Geck, so I'm still trying to figure out how to find these things. Here they are. The preset is always WEP, NV, and then whatever. I'm gonna give him, or give her, a service rifle, and I'm gonna give it 5.56 ammo, because that's what the service rifle uses. Ammo 5.56. If it's over here. Where? Oh, there it is. And I'm gonna give it 25. 250 actually. So we've given it armor, a gun, and ammo. Now, there is a way to make it so that NPCs don't run out of ammo, but for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna give it ammo. You can give it, I'm pretty sure, companion weapons, and those don't run out of ammo. But for the sake of this, I'm just going to give it a limited amount of ammo and a weapon. So yeah, that's really it. I'm going to get rid of the weapon, and I'm going to leave the hat. So if there is, just for your information, if there is 2 weapons, it'll pick the one that does the most damage, or the one it's most skilled with. So if you have a pistol in here, it would use the service rifle. Unless it runs out of ammo on the service rifle, it would swap over to the pistol. So that's how that would work. The rest of these don't really matter. You can go into face to change what it actually looks like. For ghouls, this doesn't really work that well. It kind of works, but not that well. I'm going to make it an old ghoul. Give it a lighter complexion. If you're using an actual NPC, I'd recommend messing around with this, because it'll really, you know, make the NPC look new and different. So I'm gonna go to face advanced now, and this is where you can make it way more unique. So you could, you know, make the brow ridge, you know, higher or lower or anything, and you can just change so much about the stuff. You know, you can change the nose, if it's long or if it's short. The cheeks, you can make them round. The chin, you can make it wide or thin. The face, the forehead, Celian nose ratio, sure. But, you know, mess around with it. Make some cool, unique NPCs. You can change the symmetry type, so you can make it asymmetrical or symmetrical. Head parts, you could give it hair and give it some hair because why not? Here we go. That'll work. Ghouls actually can't have their eye color changed, I'm pretty sure. I forgot about that. Head part, you can add whatever you want. You can give it a beard, you can give it a goatee, but for ghouls it doesn't work. Ghouls have a very limited customization. You can't really customize them that much, but normal NPCs you can. So I'd recommend messing around with all this stuff. You can then press OK when you're done, and you can go to your test NPC in the object window and you can drag it in. Hit F to floor it and rotate it around and put it wherever you want. And you now have your NPC in game. Now, I know this video was a bit of a longer one. I'm still going to go in game and test it out. I know this video was a long one, but I wanted to go in depth about everything that the editor has to offer, just to make future tutorials easier and to give you an idea of how to customize it. So I'm going to show you now in game what it looks like. So I'm just going to save my mod and I'll see you in game. Okay, so here we are in game. Here's the NPC right outside the shack. So here it is, Wastelander. There's a cigarette in her hand. There's her hat, the service rifle, and her combat armor. So we're gonna go up to her now and talk to her. Generic lines, what do you need? My UI is broken, so I can't say anything, but I'll just say, you know, see you later.
Bye.
It has the ghoul voice, you know, has all the options, it wanders around, you know, and if I shoot it or punch it, it'll get angry at me and kill me. So, yeah, that's really it. That's all there is to the mod, the tutorial. So, I know it was a long one, but I hope you learned something and enjoyed it. And I hope you join me for the next tutorial where I show you how to make a dialogue. An interesting one. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.